Peace and blessings, everyone. This is Robin, and today I have with me Dr. Jordan. We're going to talk about acupuncture and how it can benefit you. I am all about healing our bodies in the most natural way, and I'm also im- wanting to bring you all different options so that you can understand what is available to you. I am a nutritionist, 17 years now, and my intention is to help us thrive in our bodies. And I work primarily with women over 40. So let's just jump right in. Dr. Jordan, thank you so much for being here and your willingness to share. So tell us a little bit about you. And in that, you are an acupuncturist. And I want you to tell me what it took to become an acupuncturist. Did you go to school for it? How did you get to that?
Okay, thank you for having me on. I'm Dr. Jordan Etters Boyd. I am from Texas. I have been living in Houston since I moved to Prairie A&M for school. Throughout that time frame, I was inspired to go into the holistic and natural side of medicine. So my background, my great-grandmother was an herbalist, a medicine woman. People came to her to figure out what herbs to take. I didn't fully understand all of that until I got into my own path.
So your grandmother was a medicine woman or
My
great grandmother.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you at some point understood or you saw a difference between traditional medicine and holistic medicine.
Yes.
What is the difference? So that people understand this, because we're
Right.
accustomed to traditional medicine. And I'm going to get back to what I asked you initially, but traditional medicine, how is that different from holistic medicine or
Mhm.
what's the difference?
So the medicine that we primarily know here in the United States and the North American side is Western medicine. That's what you see on all the TV shows. You go to your doctor, they give you a prescription, you tell them what's going on, you go home.
They give you a prescription. Most of it, that's
Gonna get a prescription.
a prescription. And I want to say this, we're not saying getting the prescription is
Right.
bad, but usually you're going to get a prescription because that's the model of Western medicine based on pharmaceuticals.
Right. So the basis of Western medicine is to prescribe synthetic pharmaceutical medications that were based off of herbs that grew naturally in from the earth. I would advise people to actually go look this up. It's called the Flexner Report. I think it was done in around 1910, but go look that up, write that down, and that kind of gives you some insight on how the United States changed from holistic medicine to Western. Prior to the 1900s, the primary way of taking care of people was the holistic side. So you were listening to the patient, you were looking at signs and symptoms, looking at their tongue, you were checking different, actually palpating, feeling what's going on with the patient. You are going to get herbs from, you know, the woods or whatever, wherever they grew, because people understood herbology. They understood what herbs to use, what not to use, when to use them, things like that. And so they were acknowledging the whole person. They were seeing that maybe there's something going on with the heart, but why? Not just let's fix the heart, let's send you to a cardiologist, but let's see why this is happening. Let's analyze what you've been eating. What have you been doing? What's your activity level? What are your emotions? What are you bringing, that could potentially bring this on? So that's what holistic medicine focuses on, like the whole person from mind, body, soul, spirit, emotions, and nutrition, what you're drinking, what you're eating, what's in your house, who you're around, what you're doing, all of that. On the Western medicine side, there's not a lot of time built in to do that because it is a very corporate type of care. So
You're saying things. I want to repeat what you said because I want people that are listening to hear. So you said back in the day, 1900, way back in the day, we were more looking at the holistic side, going out and having herbs and healing the body, the whole self. And then somehow, somewhere along the way, capitalism came in And it's changed. I'm just summarizing it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's changed. And so people like you are, and me, in a sense, we're saying, hey, there is a way that you can heal the body. And what you said is so important. You cannot, in my opinion, treat just one part of the body and not address all of the things. I just had some blood work done on my thyroid, and some of my levels were off slightly, but it said it's off because of stress. Like, like stress is
Right.
because you're eating well. It's saying, okay, these are the things that can cause this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the stress, like I'm eating all the things, but it's still part of my life. Diet. Yes. And if you go to a traditional doctor, they're not doing that.
They don't have time.
They don't have time.
It's
So
not built in the system. It's there, I would say this, there's a lot of people that are going into the medical field. They really want to do the work. They want to help their patients, but there's a system built that keeps them on a protocol. It keeps them on a procedure, standard procedures, all these things, these standard of care things that are very broad, blanketed on people that is not, they're not able to customize things to fit that particular patient. They might have similar symptoms as the next person or the person before them, but they don't have the same condition, but they're getting categorized in these places.
and I'm still, we don't go right back to what is an acupuncture or what school did you have to go to. I think that it's a system, and a lot of the doctors, the young folks, I have a young in college, and they're disillusioned sometimes. They're going into the medical field because they want to help. And when they get in there, it's not what they thought. And it is upsetting to them because they've done all these things and they're not able to care. So a lot of the ones I know are coming out of the system and then now changing their practice to integrative or functional medicine. But the part that is jarring to the public is the insurance doesn't cover it. So us as a society, we are convinced that we need, if it's like we don't want to go to someone if they're not taking our insurance, not understanding that you may not be getting the best care because you're boxed into the system. And it's very unfortunate. It's unfortunate that you're paying for insurance and you may not be getting the best care. And then it's unfortunate to get the best care, you might have to pay out of your pocket, and people don't want to do that. So that is, but part of what I want people to understand is, yes, it is true. Right now, there is Western medicine, which is absolutely necessary. There's holistic medicine, and I believe that is the side for prevention. For what if you really want to know what's going on and heal the body, you want to do it holistically because you're a whole self. Now, for you, acupuncture, I want to know. Actually, let me ask you that, and then I'll ask you about your schooling. But what is acupuncture? Like, what is it? What does it do?
So acupuncture is attached to the traditional Chinese medicine system. It is a modality that is used within that medical system. So within that medical system, you have acupuncture, you have moxibustion, which is an herbal therapy that is when you use ground up mugwort to heat it and you actually stimulate acupuncture points and channels. Cupping, a lot of people understand what cupping is. They've seen cupping. Tuina, which is like the reflexology side where you're physically manipulating with your hands the channels and the meridians in the body and the acupoints that are on those channels and meridians. And I'll kind of go into that a little bit more. And then you have the herbology side, which is a huge side of Chinese medicine. And then we have movement, physical activity. So that includes Tai Chi and Qigong. So within this whole system, we're trying to make sure that we're balancing the person that is coming in to see us. So we focus on balancing everything in the body. So homeostasis. So we use different techniques and modalities to help balance. So whatever you come in with, we can help you get through that Some conditions take more time than others, of course. Somebody comes in acutely having a shoulder issue, something like that. Maybe they were playing sports and they threw their shoulder out. We can do some acupuncture, some cupping. We might even do herbs to help with the pain and the local issues there, right? Somebody comes in with a chronic condition, something like diabetes, hypertension, things like that. It's going to take a little bit longer, but they can get help. Of course, they'll most likely be on prescription medications when they come to us. So, of course, that's okay. They can still come in, but we can tie in the loose ends, right? So, if they haven't been addressing their nutrition, we can help them with that. If they haven't been addressing the physical activity, we can help them get into a plan that will help them build like a whole, put all the pieces there, the holistic side.
I think sometimes people don't want to do all of that.
Mhm.
Sometimes people just like, my shoulders hurt and just you just give me something to take the pain away. I don't want you putting cups on me and sticking needles in me, and I don't want to investigate. I just want it to stop. I don't want to take a
Mhm.
long time. So I understand that people feel that way too, because going the holistic route is an investigative journey. Like, whereas sometimes with the traditional medicine, it's just give me a something, give me a medication and stop the pain. So I understand that. So the acupuncture, 'cause I had it done before. So you're sticking needles in people.
Yes.
And what's this supposed to do?
So we have channels in our body, or some people say meridians. So these are like basically lines of communication. They associate with the nervous system and the cardiovascular system and all of the different systems we have in our body. They actually associate with that. They're mostly found in our connective tissue. So there was a study done maybe about 6, 7 years ago that showed that the fascia network, or like our connective tissue network, they actually were able to detect the channels. Now we know. But the Chinese people knew because they've been doing acupuncture for at least 2,000 years. They've been
Wow.
working in this medicine. So Eastern medicine in holistic medicine is older than the medicine that we use the most here, right? So that's only been around for like a few hundred years. This has been around for a few thousand years. So they've had time to figure out where is everything. They've had time to dissect the bodies, to understand the anatomy, to see the conductivity, to just understand the whole picture. So when you put an acupuncture needle into one of those channels, you have 12 main channels. They run on your hands, going up to your head. Some of them go from your head down your arms. Some of them go from your head down all the way to your toes. And some will start at your toes and go all the way to your head. We have so many different energy areas, right? So when you put an acupuncture needle in, we are strategically picking acupuncture points within that channel. So we have to learn at least 365 points on our bodies. Each one of those points are associated closely with a bundle of nerves. So this is why when we're not putting the needle in the nerve, but there's a large concentration of nerves and blood supply in the areas that the points are located. So think about them as kind of like wells. So you finally get to tap into the well to move the water. So that's what's happening in your body is we get the needle, we put it in, and then it sends a signal to your brain to say, hey, this is an area that your body wants that we know we need to work on. So the brain's, it's instantaneous though. So the brain sends a signal back. The blood circulation goes up is energy, right?
Yes.
So your energy, your vital force of your body responds as well because we believe that from the work that the previous people working in Chinese medicine, the people that had figured this out, they saw that qi, the energy, leads the blood. So your vital force is what is moving everything. That's what makes your heart tick. That's what makes you think. That's what makes you breathe. All of that is qi. So that's what animates our body. So chi, qi, or some people say chi, or whatever you want to say, that's what comes up to meet the needle once you put it in. So you put the needle in to the acupuncture point, you'll get a little tingling, a little sensation. I get a few more points around the body. For certain treatments, I'll do points on both sides of the body. And then certain conditions I'm doing like contralateral, like where I have a point on my right hand and then I put a point on the left foot. And so I'm, there's different ways to balance. So we learn different methods to balance the body's energy. So when you're balancing the energy, now we're starting to balance hormones because now we're moving blood circulation. We're balancing hormones, we're balancing digestive things, we're helping with stress. The body is now able to communicate more so with the nervous system so that can release the stress that has been, stagnating. That we talk a lot about stagnation of our energy, stasis of blood, when the blood just gets stuck and pulled in one area that can cause pain, which in my field of work, I work a lot with women's health, reproductive issues. So we want to make sure that the uterus is regulating itself, your reproductive system is regulating itself so that you don't have pain when your menstrual cycle comes.
This is so fascinating, Dr. Jordan. And the way you're explaining it is just opening up, like, I don't know, it's like, so you're saying that you stick this needle in certain parts of the body and it's moving energy around, but like, if I come in there and I'm making this up, I have pain in my shoulder,
right?
And then you're like, okay, you devise where you're putting the needles based on the shoulder. That like, oh, if I put the needle, I'm making this up. If I put the needle here, it's gonna this side of the body,
yeah,
and move the energy around. And that's really, it feels very strategic, very scientific, and very tailored, right? Because everybody has, and so I can understand that. And if a person is listening and they really believe in energy and the magnificent way that the body is constructed and just knowing that you can manipulate it, and I believe that. So, and that I had a friend that had acupuncture done, and it definitely moved some energy around in her body, but actually moved it around in the way she didn't like. But it released something, and it did something to her. It worked, but it moved some stuff around.
Yes, it will come in and clean the closet.
Yeah, I think it was. And it was like it was detoxifying. It is actually what happened. And whenever our body is being detoxed, usually we don't like the symptoms of the detox. We usually don't like it. And so many cases we're like, okay, I don't want. And I even know this too from a nutrition side. There's certain things that are detoxing the body. And my clients and customers are like, I don't like this. Like, I have a rash on my face now and I have this. I'm like, yeah, because you need to get this out. And that's the way, and you can avoid that if you want to, but it's a pathway to your better self. Like when you're rumbling up the stuff, the toxins and the things, it got to come out. And it might be disturbing, uncomfortable, and give headaches, but that's a part of the process. Don't like. I think and educating people and just say, yeah, this is a part of not for everybody, but for some people. I'm telling you, I have this crazy sunlight in my,
no, it's,
but so acupuncture is, and you do acupuncture, but you also do some of the other things. So you kind of look at the person and say, hey, this is what's going on. This is the bag of tricks that I have. This is what I'm going to do. So what kind of schooling do you need or did you go through to get to this?
I finished at Prairie View A&M with my biology degree and my minor in chemistry. When you get a degree like that, the concentration was more to go to medical school, dental school, things like that. So when I really came to the conclusion that I'm actually not going to Western medicine, I'm going to holistic traditional Chinese medicine school, I found the American College of Acupuncture and Chinese Medicine.
Okay. So you did. Oh, so you have a doctorate in Chinese medicine or in acupuncture?
In acupuncture, yeah, both. So it's all together.
Got it. Okay. So it's a doctorate program. You are and then you're licensed. Is that a state licensure? And is it only, like, are you licensed only right now in Texas, or is that licensed? So it's like, if you go to another state, then you have to, it's just as simple as reapplying for that license in that state, or do you have to do something?
It depends.
Every state probably has different requirements.
Yes. So with Texas, you only needed the master's program. So which was like a master's in acupuncture and oriental medicine. And then you have to take your board exams. And
Got it.
so that's with the national NCCAOM. That's our national board. That's who certifies everybody in every other state. And then California has their own board. So like that's why I said it depends. If you go to California, you have to take their board exam and then do their licensure program. But if you're in a state that accepts the NCCLM, like Texas, then you take all those board exams. They have a jurisprudence where they just want to know that you know the laws here for what you're doing. And then that's it.
What can acupuncture help with? Like if someone's listening, why would they come to you? What would they come to you for?
Okay. Anything.
Okay.
I'll say that. Anything that you can think of, we can help you. Now, thing that you would have to understand is that how severe is the condition? Is it something that, so if somebody is like, let's say the difference from somebody just coming in with an ache and a pain versus somebody being on life support.
Okay.
There's a whole spectrum there. So the people that mostly come in to see me for things, pain is the number one condition that people come in for because pain medicine is highly addictive. So people want to take another avenue on dealing with that. They would rather invest some money into caring for themselves versus being hooked on medication.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any kind of pain that you can think of. As long as I understand that they have like been evaluated, there's nothing that is life threatening for them because I do go through my red flags to make sure that, this is not something that could potentially be like life threatening type of pain.
Okay.
Or is it more so like physical body, something going on just like with, with what's happening? Did they injure themselves? What does it do to? So once I figure out what is causing them to have pain, then we can get them on a treatment plan. I also have, of course, like I was saying earlier, reproductive health is a huge one. Menstrual cycle issues are a major thing. Heavy bleeding, painful periods, clotting, fibroids, anything you can pretty much think of there, fertility issues, pregnancy, postpartum, all of that. Treat that. Pains related to pregnancy, all of the conditions that pretty much come with pregnancy, I can help with that. And then chronic illness, so like autoimmune conditions, diabetes, which is autoimmune in a way, and then like hypertension, those are the main ones.
Okay. And that actually because so many people have high blood pressure and all the things going on. So we know we don't take insurance. How much, if I can ask, like because it's not like you go to a session one time and you're just done. So what is
Right.
the investment generally to see an acupuncturist? And then it's like, well, how often do you have to come in?
Right.
Obviously, it depends on the situation, but what is the person spending? That's actually what people want to know. Like, what does this cost me?
For sure. So every region has their own kind of market rate, I would say. So market rate for here in Houston is initial sessions. Everybody kind of has a different initial session. So for me, my initial session, you come in to see me in the clinic is $195. I take 90 minutes with you. We go over your health history. We talk about what's been happening. How are you feeling? I go through everything from what they're eating to what they're doing to what their emotions, everything. And then we take the time out to do the treatment. Once I put the needles in, I allow them to rest comfortably in a private room. The room is heated and the table's heated. I have a red light that I put over them as well to keep them warm. And then that would be like the first session. Follow-up sessions after that are $95 when you come into the clinic because I do offer home visits as well. Those are a little bit more. But in Houston is big, so that's why they're a little bit more as well. The follow-ups are $95, usually 1 to 2 times a week, depending on so if the condition is more severe, I definitely recommend twice a week. If it is more on a manageable thing and somebody has more like where they're also getting care from their primary care physician on the Western side, once a week is good initially, like in the first 8 to 10 treatments. After that, every other week is appropriate. A lot of times I'm still looking at, and I'm communicating with the patient to make sure, like, how are they progressing? If they're progressing faster than usual or everything is going well, then we can see how long they can go between treatments. So I don't try to keep people hooked on a certain timeline and things like that. I'm looking more at how are they progressing? Are they progressing better than expected? Let's see how long we can go between treatments. And then in those gaps, I'm putting in Chinese medicine, herbs, and things like that to take care of those times where they're not able to come in or they don't have time to come in every week. Some do. A lot of them do, especially in the beginning. So it depends. But optimally, if you come in once a week for the first 2 months of working with me, you will see a huge change. And that's because acupuncture is a cumulative medicine. So the more you do it, the faster you see results.
Is there a point where, and so I understand it, if you're, it's an investment in yourself, and it
Yeah.
really depends on, which is, it's, does insurance pay for acupuncture at all in some places?
So, yes, it actually does. So, a lot of times, what my patients will do is they'll pay up front. I'll provide them with a super bill receipt and they can send that to their insurance company for reimbursement purposes. You want, if this is the route that you want to take, and I always clarify that whenever I'm working with patients that are interested, I let them know, make sure you talk to your insurance company to ask them what their reimbursement process would be so that you're not thinking like automatically, oh, yeah, they'll just take it. No, you have to understand what your insurance, your plan does. So each insurance company has their own thing, but then each plan underneath those insurance companies have different things that they will pay for and not pay for. So
So it's not just across the board that it's insurance won't pay for it. So some cases it will. Is
for
is there is there certain, what type of, from your experience, ailments get approved generally? I mean, I know it depends on the insurance, all those things, but what type of treatment can get approval for acupuncture through the insurance?
Mhm. Low back pain, osteoarthritis of the knee, and
Oh, okay.
some will pay for treatments related to cancer therapy. So if somebody is getting cancer treatments with their oncologist and they come in and they're needing pain relief from, just the therapy in itself, nausea, vomiting, appetite issues from the chemotherapy or radiation or whatever they're going through, some insurance companies will actually pay for that as well.
That's good to know. That's good information for people to understand that. I think we've covered the schooling, how much it could cost, and it just depends on where you are. Insurance will pay for it. Do you think, should people just have acupuncture just for maintenance? Is there like, a yearly, like, let me just go in and release some chi? Is that a thing?
Yes, that is a really good, because I do have people that say, I don't have anything wrong, but I just want to try it. And
Right.
it's always beneficial because that's where now, if you don't have anything wrong, it's preventative. And now you're coming in more like as needed. Just, you might have had a stressful day and you just want to release something. We're not having to work through so many hard things and so many layers to get that acupuncture to actually work for you. Now, the treatment just works because you didn't really have anything going on to begin with. When it just works, you'll feel the effects of the acupuncture more quickly than maybe someone who has more layers to get through.
So a person just was saying, okay, I just want to include acupuncture in my
hmm
preventative
hmm
maintenance life.
hmm
There's often
hmm
they think that they should go.
For maintenance and tune-ups, once a month is a really good place. That's good. Some people, if they're doing really well, once a quarter, 4 times a year. You come in seasonally, maybe they come in, they get some herbs to hold them down for the season, kind of follow the seasons with the herbs if they wanna do some wellness things per season. Summer, we're focusing on making sure that our bodies are strong and we're getting enough nutrients in before the winter comes. And so in the fall, we're still doing that, preparing, but in the fall or the autumn, that's when, lungs need the most support because the air gets drier. The sun is not as, you might not have as much sun access. Now, down here, we have a lot of sun almost year round, but in other places, not so much. And then the winter, the support is needed more so for your kidneys. So each organ has a season as well that it needs support in. So that's how we look at a lot of things like elementally, seasonally, what needs support at this time. So things are timed with us. We even have
Yeah.
like an organ clock, like a 24-hour circadian rhythm. And each hour is devoted to an organ system. And
I
so,
love that.
yes. So it's like we break so many things down into these like microcosms.
So if a person, I'm just repeating that, and then we're gonna get your information and wrap it up. So if a person is like, they're going to the acupuncture for the first time, they're just doing maintenance. And then when they first come in, even whatever it's their first time, they're gonna pay their first time rate. And then
Mhm.
on their seasonal visit, are they still just paying $100?
Right. So they would pay 95. Like, say if you go longer, if I haven't seen you in like 6 months to a year now, I don't know what's been happening for you for the whole year. So we might need to do a whole initial again. But that's why if I'm seeing you a little bit more often, we're not losing too much time in between because sometimes things can just come up. And now we're having to like, I need to ask a lot more questions and take a lot more time.
Okay. I like that. So you're in Texas. People that
Mhm.
are listening are all over the place, Texas here and there and everywhere. So is there a way, because again, you only help people in Texas, or is there something else you do for folks that are in other places, or primarily you're in Texas?
I do offer virtual visits. If
Oh,
someone wants, like for herbs, nutrition, like food there, I'll say food therapy advice. Food therapy, maybe someone wants to do distance healing, Reiki, because I do offer Reiki as well.
oh,
I forgot to talk about that. But
yes. And our like time is up because we could talk forever. So I'm assuming maybe we'll do another one on Reiki at some other point. But Reiki is you can do that just in a distance. Like somebody could be on the phone and you could do Reiki.
yeah, for some people, that's a harder concept to wrap their head around. But like with
Yes.
the concept of Reiki, is that it travels just being able to connect with that person and that person being intentionally in that receiving mode. We can already work there energetically.
Okay. So
Yes.
what I want to do is I want to make sure that in the down bar, the description that I have the information that those who want to follow you on social, they want to contact you. If they're in Texas, come and see you. And then if they're not and they want some herbal therapy and support, then we have them contact you. So I'll make sure we get your information in the down bar. Is there anything that you want to say before we wrap this up?
I just want to thank you for having me on your platform. And it's always refreshing to be able to share what I do. And I know that it is still different. It's still
Yeah.
something that is a new concept for many, but I always been in this space of wanting to share and teach others the things that I have come across. And so sometimes people want to know, like, what can I do right now? Or what can I do at home? Because maybe I don't have access to an acupuncturist, or maybe it's not worked into my budget right now. The main thing is make sure you're doing some type of physical activity every day. If walking is all you do that. But move your body every single day. That is one of the major things that we're missing right now, outside of all the other stuff that we could address right now. But moving your body, that is going to address your breathing, breath work, you're moving your breath, you're moving your blood circulation, you're stimulating your digestive system, you're stimulating your metabolism, you are moving your lymphatic. We don't move our lymph enough. We don't move the waste out of our body. Yeah, so physical movement is necessary for life. That is the most basic form of maintenance we can ever do.
Thank you all that are listening. I'm going to put Dr. Jordan's information below. This channel or my platform or my community is really dedicated to helping us, primarily women over 40, just understand how to thrive in the body that we've been given. And I want to introduce you to different ideas, concepts, and people that can support where you are and what you want to do. And that is my sincere intentions. Dr. Jordan, thank you so much for being here and sharing your knowledge and expertise. I learned a lot. And I do this selfishly too, because I get to learn stuff as well. and you've, turned on the light bulb for so many things. And I'm going to put a plug in for me and Necessary Nutrition. There's two things. I am a nutritionist, and if you are needing support with regards to your food and nutrition and how to use that to thrive in your body, reach out, and I'll put the information below. And then if you are a woman over 40, or if you're not, and you're not taking vitamin D3 with K2, why? And I encourage you to get your Necessary Nutrition D3 K2, and that link will be down below. I promise to continue to bring you powerful information and insights that you can use to thrive in your body. So peace and blessings. Thank you again. This is Robin, Necessary Nutritionist, going on my 17th year. And then Dr. Jordan coming from H-Town. Thank you so much. Eat well, think well, and be well. Peace.